What is going on, everybody? If you do hop on this live right now, at least, I'm doing an internet test. So just trying to see what comes from it. There's literally nobody in here. But I am just trying to see if the internet works. Am I crystal clear? Let me know. Give me some feedback in the chat on YouTube. We're only on YouTube right now. Again, I see you, Greg. What's up? Am I in 4K or am I still super pixelated? What do I look like? What am I looking like? You see the ginger beard in all its glory? Like, is it pixelated? Am I cutting out? So, if you guys aren't aware, I've been dealing with internet issues surrounding this channel months. And so I switched providers. I've switched providers. And also, I just, again, I got kicked out of my last live because of my internet. So I just went and got a shout out to XPod. So hopefully it's working. Like, I'm not seeing any bars. Typically, it would tell me what. Dude, it was so bad. It was so bad. But see, look, right as I said it, those bars popped up. It says connection is fairly good. Oh, clear as hell from Joshua. Joshua, no, he's been watching all of it. He's been seeing. All right, so is it working? Does it appear like my Wi-Fi is a little bit like fixed? Is that what it looks like? Because if that's true, then this is a revelation. Oh no! Please troll me. Please say that's a troll. Because Lamar's saying super clear. I see. Now it looks better. Freezes a little. I see. Yeah, it's fixed. It looks way better. 4K. Solid, bro. Okay. I keep getting this. Little stalls. Still stalling a bit. I get the way better, though. So it was really bad. It was really bad before. There was a reason why we called it Dollar General Wi-Fi, all that good stuff. All right, so I could deal with the face cam freezing a little bit as long as the audio goes through and you guys can hear me. That's fine. Unfortunately, I'm too far away. One, from my modem, and two, I have a MacBook Air. Doesn't have an Ethernet connection, so I probably need some type of connector. All right, as long as it was better than before, I guess that's a start. That's a start. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So thank you guys for being my Wi-Fi test. So now, young hitter, let me know. Am I looking crystal clear? I'm hearing it's a little choppy, but it is what it is. I'll take it for what it is. Dude, I'm in a dead spot. I really don't know what it is. This area that I live in, like I have Verizon. Verizon has great coverage. I get coverage everywhere except in this part of my town. Like it's wild. All right. Okay. So I'm actually, now that we got the Wi-Fi figured out, it is what it is. I haven't been kicked off yet. I'm going to get IG on here. What we'll be doing is just Q&A. Again, it was honestly, this is more of a Wi-Fi test, but we'll call it a Q&A. I'm going to bring up Instagram. So we'll be doing back and forth. I'm only on YouTube right now, and then hit up Instagram. So I'll do Instagram now. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. Like I said, not going to be a crazy episode, but I'm happy. I'm happy that my Wi-Fi is working out a little better so far. So that's a good start over here. It's a good start. So YouTube, or not YouTube, Instagram's getting kicked up right now. And then once everyone gets in here, we will start chopping it up about the game, what we liked, what we didn't like. Typically, this is a Victory Monday, a celebration day, but obviously Victory Mondays only come with the victory. So maybe we call them today Grumpy Mondays, hashtag Grumpy Mondays. We got Victory Monday, maybe Grumpy Monday. No sound. I'm not muted over here, so let's see what's going on. Let's try this. All right. Can you guys hear me now? Check, 1 2. Check 1 2. How is there no audio? How is there no audio? I'm not muted though. I'm not muted. Man, if it's not one technical difficulty, it's another. Hold on. I'm coming back. Hold on. Jeez, man. I cannot catch a break. I know we're good on YouTube. YouTube, we're squared. I'm trying to get going on Instagram. It is just... Come on. let me live a little bit. Don Burr, man. Don Burr, I feel for that guy. Because you guys lost on a 66-yarder. What is happening? That was tough. That was absolutely tough. All right. Well, hopefully, I don't know what's going on today. Someone asked me, where did it go? Where did it go? Okay. Lamar, I like this one. I like talking about my feelings a little bit sometimes. I'm going to answer this, then I'll try to get Instagram reconnected. How do I feel about the game? So I was at the game, was at Levi Stadium. It was electric. I mean, absolutely electric. Haven't been to a real game since the NFC Championship game in 2020 back on January 19th. So haven't been to I went to two preseason games, but haven't been to like a legitimate game since then. And it was so good. It just felt so good. Again, the tailgating, everything that was going on, to then be able to be in the stands, looking at Levi Stadium, completely packed. I mean, honestly, there might not be a better atmosphere than a night game at Levi Stadium. It is just, especially when the sun's setting and you get that real nice sunset in the background. It was really beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Sounds like Instagram can hear me. Thank goodness. Holy hell. I'm not muted. How dare you? So honestly, the feel of the game, and if you guys are just hopping on Instagram, multiple streaming zones, I'm talking about how I felt. So I'm talking about being in Levi's again, in a game time atmosphere, full stadium. That place is special when it's full. That place is special when the energy is just cracking. Like, Levi Stadium is absolutely it's get there. I mean, we've heard the jokes for years, right? I got a picture of Candlestick right behind me. We've heard it for years. turkey on the 50, all that's gone. No more. No more. Honestly, the environment at Levi Stadium now is honestly, I'd pair it with any other environments. It's that good, that good. Um, Levi's was absolutely fantastic. The environment all the way through, getting loud on third downs, getting loud for the defense. Levi's was peak performance. Again, it reminded me just like the NFC Championship game, the last game that I was actually at um, in Levi Stadium. That was a real game. It was on par. So, although it was a very difficult game in the sense of the outcome, it was freaking fun, dude. I had a blast. Like, it really sucked. It really sucked to lose in that fashion on the last kick, the last 37 seconds. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, it seems like the two-man show almost. They drive it down, kick the field goal. But I'm not gonna lie, that game was hella fun. It was hella fun. I had a blast. Um, it was great, dude. It really was. So although it really it sucked that we lost, obviously I felt good about the way that we rallied back. I felt really good about going up a score with 37 seconds left in the game. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation surrounding that specifically. But for the most part, I had a really good feeling in that moment. Obviously, as I've had time to marinate, I've gone back and watched. Um, you know, I think if I had to put assign a feeling to it, it would probably be in regards to actually analyzing the gameplay. I would probably say the feeling that is associated with yesterday's game might be frustration, only just because it felt like there were some self-inflicted things happening on. I have no problems. Like when we go out there, we show up, we execute to the best of our ability, we do what we can. We're in rhythm, and it's just a good game. It's a good back and forth, and it just doesn't fall our way. Um, but as we know, that first half up until that last drive to end the half, we were just not in rhythm, just not in rhythm. And that's been my biggest rallying cry, not only just after this week, but going back last week and even the week after that. I mean, we looked great starting out against Detroit, and as the game went on, fell out of rhythm. Go week 2 against the Eagles, we did not get on in rhythm early. We didn't, and it was a struggle to kind of get on pace. And we kind of saw that happen 2 weeks in a row. So, as an offensive guy myself, again, I want to see less self-inflicted. And again, we can't control injuries. That's not what I'm talking about. Injuries to the running backs, injuring to our cornerback depth, can't control that. But just the rhythm, it just just feels like, for having this great offensive line that we do, I think we still have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Best tight end in football, George Kittle. 2 of the arguably best young talents at wide receiver, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk. Don't forget to mention Mohamed Sanu, who has had a decent game as well. We have weapons. We have a good offensive line front. We got a veteran at quarterback, and we have one of the best play callers in the NFL. So I would say a lot of my frustration stems from that. Stems from I expect and I hold the offense to a much higher standard, I guess. I expect the offense to be, and again, to preface this, I also am a person who believes that the first 4 weeks of the actual season is like the preseason for the starters. They're still meshing, they're still ironing out kinks, communication, final lineups. So I know it's a bit of a process. So, but however, like I said, this is 4-year Kyle Shanahan, 4th year Jimmy Garoppolo. I would actually expect the offense to be moving a little bit more efficiently and more effectively for a veteran quarterback and a veteran play caller, with the like I said, with the offensive line, with the weapons, even with the kind of up and down at running back. Um, you know, I feel like they still could have gotten off to a better start. And again, we can go back and indicate and look at the first four rushes of the game. First four rushes of the game were four different ball carriers. It was Debo Samuel, uh, George Kittle, Juszczyk, and Trey Sermon. So first four rushes of the game were four different ball carriers. Only one of them was a true running back. And to me, it just kind of felt like that was the vibe of trying to get the running game in rhythm. And it just felt like it never fell into place. Um, Obviously, I understand, trying to hit the edges and do things in creative ways. But also with like a rookie running back like Trey Sermon, would love to see Trey Sermon get those four rushes in a row, running kind of more standard zones. Hell, if you want to run trap or power concepts as well, do that too. I just would have loved to see them try to get Sermon up and running a little. I get it. He's a rookie. It was his first start. So I know there's a lot of context back and forth. Um, but I just felt like, without Raheem Mostert, without Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell now is down, and we're just on this feeling like this never-ending rotation at running back. I felt like that we could have done a little bit better at the beginning of the game to really try to solidify that run game, because based on everything that we know about this team, Kyle Shanahan, what they look like when they're successful when they're running the football, and they're owning the line of scrimmage. They're getting chunk plays out of their running backs. But like I said, it just felt like they never got into that rhythm. So unfortunately, it just felt like it turned into a spiral there, into that first first half, I guess, if you want to say. Or just didn't feel like they were getting into rhythm. Just wasn't. There's no rhythm. Just like, what are we doing? Like, so that's what I want to see. Basically what I'm trying to talk about is like, I feel like if this team comes out in rhythm on the first snap of the game, this team is going to be so hard to beat, even with the issues of injuries at running back, injuries with the secondary. This team will be so much harder to beat if they are in rhythm and they're functioning as they want to function. I don't feel like they functioned as they wanted to function yesterday, at least for sure in the first half. It wasn't until the Trenton Cannon explosion that we actually got a spark, and all that kind of stuff. So it just feels like we haven't been able to do what our bread and butter is. And I know, of course, not having guys like Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson available plays into that. I'm not naive to that. But however, I do think Sermon could have got a little bit more run to get him going in the right direction. Things like that. So it is what it is. I love how Raider fans come in here and talk trash. Good stuff. Go Raiders. Let's see. All right. So essentially what I am doing though on this live is more of a Q&A, even though I haven't really been Q&A-ing anything. So if you guys do have questions, I'm trying to go back and forth, and I'll try to see what you guys have, and I will go from there. So I'm getting another question from Lamar on YouTube. He was saying, do you think that they should have went for it on 4th and 1? Yeah, I would say so. I would say the momentum, the rhythm, like we were talking about, felt like we were ready to go and get that 1 yard. I feel pretty confident behind this offensive line, behind Alex Mack, even with Brunskill and Lincoln Tomlinson. I still feel like this team can get a yard, and would have loved to see that. And even whether it was juice or Sermon, whoever, I think they would have got it. Could have snuck it again. So I would have loved to see them go for it in that situation. I think Kyle, if he could have done it again, he probably would have went for it. I think he even said that. I think he even said that just now on today's situation press conferences. So yeah, I would have went for it. I would have went for it for sure. And I think he would have too. Let's see. I'm gonna get a Instagram question in. Ooh, Burke Nasty. We see you. I like that. So this is a good question. It's a nuanced question as well, with a lot of nuanced answers to it. And he says, is Shanahan a better play designer or play caller? And so I think to differentiate the difference between a play designer and a play caller is play designer is what you do during the week. Play designer is what you do in preparation, in scouting a defense, identifying their fronts, what they do well, what they don't do well, scouting, picking apart the opponent's defense, and then designing plays to fit and attack those things. Kyle Shanahan is absolutely fantastic at that. He's really good at being able to create mismatches. He's really good at being able to exploit holes in the defense when everything is executing and working properly. But the difference between a play designer and a play caller is actually picking the right play per the situation. Regarding the first 3 weeks of the season, as a play caller, I'm probably sitting with Shanahan around a B. I think he can, which means I think he's done a good enough job. Obviously, the 49ers are 2-0. They have done a bunch of different things, but I think there's an opportunity for Kyle Shanahan to step his game up as a play caller. I think right now, at least in this season, and what we know of Kyle Shanahan, he might be a better play designer. And I don't know. Again, there's a lot of different things. What happens when you don't have your running backs? What happens when I'm trying to think of a good way to say this. Your quarterback tends to pick and choose where he delivers the ball. It kind of limits you in a sense as a play caller. So I think there's a lot of context involved. But I think it's a really good nuanced question. I think as of right now, I think I would consider him a better play designer. He's a good play caller as well. I would just like, again, to see him help develop more of a rhythm up front. But that's a good question. Good question. Moody out here talking crap to himself. I don't think anyone's paying attention. Who hates Aiyuk more? Kyle or Jimmy? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Aiyuk is fine, man. Aiyuk is fine. Aiyuk is who we thought he was. Brandon Aiyuk is exactly who we thought he was. You got to put your players in position to be successful. That's on Kyle Shanahan. It's on Jimmy Garoppolo. It's on Brandon Aiyuk as well, though. It's on Brandon Aiyuk as well. And I'll say why it's on Brandon Aiyuk as well. Because if you think about it, before halftime, and they're driving down the ball again after the Trent Cannon return, and they're driving, right? Jimmy hit Brandon right in the hands. Man, he hit him right in the hands. So that's the thing. It's like we understand what occurred the first 2 weeks. There was something going on the first 2 weeks, and it is what it is. Like, coaches are going to find ways to motivate their players however they see fit. We're not in that locker room. We don't know the situations and the hows and the whys of everything that's going on behind the scenes, but it was there. You could see it. Like, we know how to connect dots. Like, this isn't our first rodeo. So The whole Brandon Aiyuk thing is what it is. You know, he goes from splitting reps to Trent Sherfield week 1. Week 2, I think he played a handful of snaps more than Trent Sherfield. And then yesterday, Trent Sherfield only played 2 snaps. Trent Sherfield played 2 snaps, but apparently from preseason was just playing that much better at a level, right? According to the narratives of earlier in the year. But it is what it is. In regards to Brandon Aiyuk, you gotta scheme him. You gotta get him the ball. You just gotta get him the ball. Like, the talent is there. He's a very talented human being. Um, he's shown you everything of why he was a high draft pick in fantasy football. He showed you why there's a ton of excitement surrounding him. He's a very good football player, but it's up to the coaches and the quarterback to, again, the coaches have to put the players in position to be successful. The quarterback has to deliver the football. There's 2 things that need to occur prior to Aiyuk actually seeing success. And so guess what we saw yesterday? We saw the coach putting Brandon Aiyuk in position to be successful, and the quarterback was giving him the ball. And guess what happened? We saw Brandon Aiyuk do Brandon Aiyuk things. So the hope is that just continues. You just continue that trend forward. Get your playmakers the football, and they're going to make plays. That's typically how football works. So that's the hope. That's the hope. I think Aiyuk is fine. YouTube wanted me to ask this question from Jamal, so let's see. Jamal says, how do you feel about the prevention defense on the last drive? Why not double Adams and make literally anyone else beat you? I agree. I don't mind the first play, the first kind of coverage scheme too bad. I felt like it was just a better throw. Like, that was a Hall of Fame throw. It was a Hall of Fame throw by Aaron Rodgers to be able to just drop that ball right over Fred's head, right over his outstretched hand, and just drop it in. Like, great throw. I felt like I liked the coverage. I felt like I liked at least the sense of where the positioning of Fred Warner was, like, in hindsight. I just honestly felt like it's just a great throw by Aaron Rodgers. Now, the second, I would say the final throw, the nail in the coffin for the 49ers, I didn't understand what was going on there. I think you had Devontae Adams coming out of the slot. I believe you had a zone coverage, and you had a cornerback, a safety, and a linebacker in that zone. I think there were 3. There was Devontae Adams in the slot. You had an outside wide receiver, potentially a tight end. I don't remember. But all Devontae did was he ran a zone beater. He just ran a simple zone beater, sat it down, and there was no one there. And after everything that we saw throughout the game, again, Devontae Adams had 13 receptions, I believe. I think he had 18 targets. It was the Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers throw. So you would think, like, maybe at that point, like, we at least bracket Devontae. I would much prefer Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, MVS. I would much prefer those guys beat us. Not Devontae Adams. So I can understand the first one was okay. That was just a great throw, in my opinion. It was the final nail in the coffin where I was like, how do we do that? You know, how it felt like an oversight. Again, I'm not in those meeting rooms. I don't know the true assignments. I don't know what I don't know what the install is. So I can't speak from that contextual standpoint. All I can speak from is Devontae Adams torched the 49ers single-handedly, and on the play of the game where you had to have it and you knew exactly where they were going, they didn't stop it, or they didn't it's a better word, they didn't they didn't make it like a priority of that particular defensive call. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't it wasn't my favorite, but I know a lot of people want to come down D'Amico Ryan's road right now, and um, I, I understand why certain people do want to come down D'Amico Ryan's road. But let me put this into some contextual. Let me set the stage. D'Amico Ryan's is in his third game ever with as a play caller on defense. Okay, we understand this, right? Going up against a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and a Hall of Fame wide receiver in Devontae Adams. Okay. Um, with his with the group that he has on defense, his cornerbacks have been dropping like flies. I feel like Jaquiski Tart and I feel like Jimmy Ward have been doing a fantastic job this year. The 3 games, I feel like our 2 safeties have been doing really well. I feel like Fred Warner, Aziz Al-Shaair, they've been playing great. But we are seeing here or there lapses in coverage. We're seeing maybe not as many pressures generated as we would like from the defensive line when rushing 4. Maybe we wish there was some more pressure generated, but again, let's think about it. Like, this is now Nick Bosa's 3rd game back after not practicing at all training camp and all preseason. We're talking about a guy who didn't take part in one team period. Like, the games are his first team periods. So I knew that it would be a ramp up for Nick Bosa. In regards to Dee Ford, we didn't know what to expect with Dee Ford. Like we've always talked about, anything Dee Ford gives us at this point is house money. Now, we haven't seen the impact from Dee Ford like we saw from week 1. Okay. Guys on the interior, Javon Kinlaw, I thought did a pretty serviceable job taking on double teams, which is what I want him to do. I saw some good plays out of Zach Kerr. I saw some good plays out of DJ Jones. I saw some good plays up front. I just think that group is still meshing. They're still trying to get it together. And which is why I just want to preface, like, again, everyone wants to come down D'Amico Ryan's road, but I look at game flow. I look at game flow for dictating order of operation. And if the 49ers offense was moving the football in rhythm and, again, keeping the ball away from Aaron Rodgers, that is part of the offense's responsibility, in my opinion. When you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and wide receiver on the other side, it is part of the offense's responsibility, at least in my opinion, to keep the ball out of their hands, which means run the clock and control the football. Well, guess what happened? The Packers actually controlled the football more in that game than the 49ers did by, I think it was like something like 8 seconds or something like that. Like they happened to control the ball more. But if you take a look and you take a step back, that could have been the difference in the game. If the 49ers chewed up maybe 5 more minutes early, or were able to actually control the football and work through their offense and get it established, get in rhythm, and do these things early on in the game, that changes the game flow. That changes the defensive sequence. That changes what they're doing. It changes them being from attack mode to being in like, oh crap mode. So honestly, again, the whole reason why I talked about D'Amico Ryan's being in his 3rd game as a play caller is Kyle Shanahan. This is his life. This is all Kyle Shanahan has been doing. So as the head coach of this team, as the guy who is the mastermind behind this offense, and this offense has been struggling for 60 minutes. They've looked good in halves. It's the 60 minutes thing that we're trying to get a hold of. I have to look at Kyle Shanahan as our offensive coordinator, our offensive play caller, our play designer, as the guy who is in control of the 49ers offense. And I have to look at the rhythm and look at how we are being successful and or not being successful on offense. And that translates to the defense. I felt like the defense, I mean, hell, like, yes, they could have played better, or we could have had a couple better situations here or there in certain points. But this should be an offensive team. This should be an offensive team, is my point. With the offensive line, with the weapons, with the coaching, this should be an offensive team. So why that isn't happening, I don't know. Is it because it's week 3 and they're still getting into rhythm? They're still trying to figure out like what exactly they're trying to accomplish. Are they really that hindered by the running back situation and not having Raheem Mostert being able to rip off these quick outside zones and doing all that kind of stuff? Like, is that the reason? So I know a lot of focus is going to D'Amico Ryans, and I get it. I get it. But you can't forget that the defense gets put in a situation based on the inability of the offense, to hold and maintain the football. So I'm an offensive guy. I'm an offensive guy at heart. Um, I like to hold the offense a little bit more accountable. I like as an offense that controls their decision making, they control their execution, they control situational. And again, it's Shanahan. We talk about Shanahan, right? I love Shanahan. We talk about Shanahan as being like one of the better coaches in the NFL. And he controls the offense. And the offense, based on how the offense has looked for the first 3 weeks, again, could just be the first 3 weeks of the year. They're trying to get up to speed, trying to mesh. They have shown they've been able to mesh. Now you got to mesh for 60 minutes, though. You got to mesh for 60 minutes, and you got to mesh from the first snap. And so I feel like with how the offense operated at the beginning of the game, it set us on our path where all we were doing was playing catch up the rest of the game. Couldn't get our offense engaged, couldn't execute the way we were trying to execute. We couldn't hit the targets that we were trying to hit. Our offense wasn't working. So I don't know how we can feel real comfortable feeling like calling all the blame on D'Amico Ryans with an extremely banged up secondary playing against a Hall of Famer at quarterback. So it is what it is, man. But the defense did choke at the end. I don't know. Yeah, you want to see them come through at the end, but that's not, again, the game wasn't won in the last, it was technically won in the last 37 seconds, but it's all those plays beforehand. It's everything that leads up to that play. In my opinion, I think it's more of an order of operations situation, more so than any of that other stuff. So it is what it is. I understand everyone's upset and wants to blame someone and wants to come after the play calling and things like that. But how are you going to come after D'Amico Ryans when Kyle could have moved the ball damn near for an entire half? Like, puts our defense at a real disadvantage. If you don't recall, we had a couple plays where the defense made huge stops and we turned the ball over immediately. Like, we run our order of operation, meaning running our football team through our offense with rhythm and being able to maintain the football, time of possession. The game plan, I guarantee you, was keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers. Don't give the ball away to Aaron Rodgers. Well, if that's the game plan, that's on the offense, right? So it is what it is. Like I said, I'm an offensive guy, so I lean offense a lot of times with getting credit and sometimes critiques. It is what it is. But I think the offense should be much better than what it is. Again, I have a ton of faith in this offensive line. I have a ton of faith in these weapons. They should be able to move the ball a lot better than they did against the Packers, at least in my opinion. So it is what it is. All right. All right. Now I'm looking for questions. I'm looking for questions. Drop some questions in, whether you're on Instagram or on YouTube, and I'll start getting some answers. Maybe we'll go a little bit more rapid fire because I keep getting long winded on these ones. um, let's see. Let's see. What do we got? Uh, should we see more Trey Lance? I don't know. I only think we see more Trey Lance if you're ready to turn it over. Like, again, I'm not a two quarterback guy. I will never be a two quarterback guy. Even as I'm watching it unfold with my own team, the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, I am not a two quarterback guy. I'm just not. Um, I don't think it is mentally beneficial for either quarterback. I think the way both quarterbacks talk about it, I don't know if they like it. Again, Trey was talking about it today or after the game. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know when I'm getting in. I don't know. Like it's all based on game situation. I'm standing by my tight ends coach or by my quarterback coach and all the tight ends. I'm just waiting to see if I'm going in, if I'm not going in." And then of course Jimmy's like, "Well, I don't know when I'm getting pulled." I'm just not a fan of it. Um, I understand why they had to do it yesterday or last night. Trey scored the touchdown, but at a certain point, I would rather just see one quarterback cook and see what comes of it. Um, does Trey come in soon? Um, I would say if we're gonna find out, I think in the next 2 weeks. I think we're going to find out in the next 2 weeks, specifically next week at home against Seattle. It's going to be a really big test. It's going to be a really big game. It's our first division game of the year. We understand how important division games are, especially right now. So that's the thing. It's like, it's really hard because I think what we want as fans is consistency from that position. We want to feel like we can consistently expect certain things from the quarterback position. Now, whether that's one quarterback, whether that's or two quarterbacks playing, uh, I don't care. I think at the end of the day, what we as fans expect is consistency. And so I think when we don't see the consistency in regards to play, execution, ability, like that creates a lot of conversation. So we understand this team wants to see Trey, or this fan base wants to see Trey. It was wild. Like when the 49ers were ending the half, they were driving into the end zone. Again, you had the two back-to-back drops and in the end zone. Again, Jimmy finds Brandon Aiyuk, hits him in a like it was a dime. You can't take that away from Jimmy. Jimmy hit Brandon right in the hands. Aiyuk dropped it. You come back with that. You have a little play action boot. You get Jimmy out in space to the right, and you have a wide open Deebo Samuel in the back of the end zone, literally wide open. And it wasn't the most accurate pass. So when you have Jimmy Garoppolo wide open and Jimmy throws it to where Deebo is laying out for the football to try and catch it, like I think those two plays is like a microcosm of like what Jimmy is. It's like, or at least what we've seen the first 3 weeks. It's like we see those instances where Jimmy's on point. He's got the quick release. He sees it right away. He reads it and rips it, and it's gone. And he threads the needle, and it's a beautiful pass. Hits it on target. Hits it on timing. It's a great read. We see those things. But then we also see the other things. Again, back-to-back plays. Hits Brandon Aiyuk right in the hands. Aiyuk drops it. Would have been a touchdown. Would have been a great throw. Would have been a great read. Aiyuk drops it. Okay. Well, then we get Jimmy out on a play action. Spots Debo in the back of the end zone. Hits Debo, but it's not an accurate pass. It's at the end of the day, call a spade a spade. It wasn't an accurate pass, and it forced Debo to become off balance, leave his feet. Now, could Debo have caught that ball? He could have. I think he could have. I think he would tell you he probably could have as well, and would have liked to catch that. But again, it didn't have to be that difficult of a throw. It didn't. It did not have to be that difficult of a throw. And we kind of saw that Jimmy, I think, throughout the day. And then when they made that rotation right after that and Trey comes in, the entire stadium erupted like we had just scored a touchdown. Like, I'm not a certified sports psychologist, but damn, I feel for Jimmy in those types of situations, dude. Like, whether it's self-inflicted or not, or it's not warranted or it's not, whatever you feel, whatever side you want to call it, like, just put yourself in that situation to get, you're the quarterback. Again, the quarterback doesn't rotate ever, only in our world. And you rotate him out as they're about to score, and the entire stadium goes up, like turns up super loud because they're excited about Trey, and then Trey scores a touchdown. Like, I was happy. I was super happy that they scored a touchdown, but I was like, oh gosh. Like, oh, I was like, again, I'm looking at it from like an emotional intelligence standpoint, like emotional, like mental, how people deal with emotions, like how people deal with their own things. And it's like, dude, I would not handle that well. So again, you got to be extremely mentally strong right now, at least from Jimmy's standpoint, at least from a Trey standpoint. They have to be able to ready to go in and out. And I don't know if that is kind of contributing to maybe the lack of rhythm. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I prefer putting the confidence into your players. I'm big on emotional intelligence. I'm big on, like, again, trying to put your players not only in the best position to be successful on the field, but put them in the best position to be successful mentally. And I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, we understand Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit. We understand he has some inconsistent tendencies, but I don't think him looking over his shoulder constantly helps that at all. Like, I would say that would probably push that forward a little bit more. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. So the original question was, when do we see Trey? Honestly, it all comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo, because we already see the narratives being built from yesterday's game. There's a lot of people coming after Jimmy. Again, it was a nationally televised game, so you had the entire world watching. So you now have a narrative built off of yesterday's game of what Jimmy Garoppolo is. A lot of national pundits weren't pleased with his performance. And so this is where the trickle-down effect begins. This is where we start to see the tides turn. Public perception these days is real. You can't escape it anymore with social media and all that kind of stuff. So Kyle's really close. Like, Kyle's really close to having all of this just turn on him. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that happen at all. Kyle's done a great job building up this organization, putting players and getting the right players and doing all these kinds of things. But public perception is something that they don't care about your context. They don't. They want results. They want to see it happen now. And with what people are seeing, the narratives that are being put together, the whole situation, the 8 months of dealing with the offseason, I talked about it during the offseason. Kyle had a long leash with fans, man. He had a really long leash. Um, but I honestly feel like that leash is like this now. Like, I just feel like it got burned up based on the whole situation dating back from January to the draft through training. Like, it set a weird tone and a vibe, and it's steamrolling. Um, so it's going to be one of those situations where Jimmy's going to have to play good consistently, and if Jimmy doesn't play good consistently, then Kyle's not going to have any other choice but to turn to him. So I don't know. It's a tough situation, man. It's really tough. It feels like a lose-lose lightweight. Um, I don't know. Do you think we trade Jimmy before the end of the season if he doesn't do well next couple of games? No, I don't. I don't think Jimmy gets traded again. His contract is here to stay. His contract is guaranteed. It's not moving off the books. So if you were to trade him, you're not moving the money off the books. And if you're trading him based on the notion that you had mentioned he's not playing well, I mean, what are you getting for him at that point? Again, he brings a big cap number with him. And the 49ers don't get any alleviation of that cap hit either. So I don't see him getting traded. I really don't. I would have thought that if that move were to happen, that would have happened before the season started, because again, you would have moved almost his entire salary off the books. But now it's like you kind of got to ride it out. But I just really hope that we just find the rhythm. That's all that's needed. And are we not being able to find rhythm because we're not on rhythm at the quarterback position? That could be a valid point. We'll see. But honestly, I just want rhythm. I want things to click. I know we have the players. We have the guys up front to block it. We have the weapons to catch it and run it. Let's do it. Rhythm. We got to be consistent. We got to get in rhythm. That's what I need. That's my rallying cry, at least. I just want rhythm. That would be funny if Jimmy played Brady. Oh, against the Patriots, because Patriots are playing Brady this week. Got you. We need to get the ball to Kittle more. He always gets a lot of yak every time. I'm all for getting Kittle the ball whenever he wants. Kittle deserves the ball all the time, every time. Our run game is weak. That's why we need Trey in. Throw the D off for our receivers. I mean, at a certain point, you see what the defenses are doing to us. The defenses are daring us to go deep. They're bringing their safeties down essentially into the box. They're almost playing 11 in the box. I mean, they're technically not, but they're creeping their safeties. They're creeping their safeties. I know you guys are seeing. I think I need to come up with a better name for these. I don't know. I don't think it's a great name. I call them suicide slants because we just keep seeing our receivers get thrown into defenders. And I think it's tough to watch. I think consistently. I think you expect a couple. I'm fine with a couple here or there, but it's starting to feel like that is becoming like an every week thing where Jimmy's going to the middle and they're sitting on it. They're waiting for it. Now he's able to fit it. He's able to fit the ball in there. But the problem with that is you're throwing your guys into harm's way. And I don't know. I mean, as a football player myself at one time, I would say that wide receivers don't necessarily love that. So, I mean, these guys want to win at the end of the day, and that's what they're about. They don't care. I mean, I know they care, but the professional question is we don't care who's at quarterback. We care about winning. We care about executing, right? So we'll see, man. We'll see. Yeah, James. James, the Wi-Fi has not cut out once. The Wi-Fi has not cut out once. I think we fixed it. Woo! After months of terrible Wi-Fi connection, I think we actually fixed it. We need to trade Jimmy. Yeah. I don't think Jimmy's getting traded. Talk about our O-line on Sunday night. Okay. I thought they did okay. I'm seeing a lot of people come down their road. And you guys know me. I'm very hypersensitive to the offensive line. I love watching the offensive line and everything that they do. I don't think they played as bad as everyone thinks. Again, hopefully get the all 22 tonight and break it down a little bit better. But honestly, I don't think they played that bad. You have instances. Again, remember, everyone, your O-lineman will get cooked. Trent Williams, he's going to get cooked. Lakin, he's going to get cooked. Alex Mack, he's going to get cooked. Brunskill, he's going to get cooked. McGlinchey, he's going to get cooked. That is literally what life is in the end, in playing in the trenches. You win some, you lose some. So I would say, and so how you try to evaluate offensive line play when you're going to lose and you're going to win. Okay, well, who wins more consistently? Who is being consistently better? Because again, you're going to lose. You're going to get caught in the wrong technique. You're going to get caught out of position. You're going to get caught with a stunt. You're going to get caught with the blitz. It happens. That's life. That's why offensive line is the most thankless position there is, damn near in any sport. Because that's what it is. You only get noticed when you mess up. All those 50 plays that you executed your stuff like better and actually executed your job. No one cares. No one cares unless you get a pancake. No one's giving out medals for reach blocks. None of that stuff. So, like I said, in the grand scheme of the game, I felt like the offensive line did a good job. I didn't see anything that was like super glaring. I saw the one where Alex Mack got beat up front. I think Alex Mack had a little bit of a rough game. He had that one snap that wasn't great. I know he got beat like right off the snap on one of them that turned into a tackle for a loss. But I don't think they played poorly enough to be like, oh, we're concerned about the O-line. I felt like they did a pretty serviceable job. So in regards to the offensive line play, across the board, I felt like it was good enough. It was good enough to get the job done. Like, I would say it was a passing grade. Wouldn't say it was their best performance of the year. But for the most part, really, really thought it wasn't that bad. But again, give me that all 22, and I'll really break it down. So it is what it is. And again, I see people talking about Brunskill getting pushed around. I haven't seen that yet. Again, I didn't watch the broadcast. I watched it in the stadium. I watched it back today. Didn't see a ton of that either. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Like I said, I felt like the offensive line did okay. I haven't seen anything other than a couple miscues from, like the Alex Mack plays that we talked about. I haven't seen really a ton of glaring issues up until that point. So I thought it was okay. I think we're making a little bit bigger of a deal, which is typically again how it goes with the offensive linemen. We'll see one or two glaring plays and we'll chalk it up to it's a terrible game. So again, I haven't necessarily seen that in my rewatch. So if we had to pick the most glaring plays to occur to the offensive line, I would say that probably would have been Alex Mack with the snap and that one miss that turned into a tackle for loss. I've seen a couple people say the offensive line is trash. I don't understand how you could say that. I don't understand how you can watch the offensive line the last 3 weeks, take their cumulative work over the last 3 weeks and say that. To me, that just outs. Again, when people talk about the offensive line, they out themselves with their football knowledge. So I would just be very careful with the way you talk about the offensive line because I will call you out every single time. 22 rushing yards before the first half, and you're saying the offensive line wasn't good. The first 4 rushes were 4 different players, and only one of them was a running back. Like, come on. That's what we were talking about. Game flow. Like, how do you get a running back going when you throw a pitch to Sermon? To me, get him going in between the tackles. Get Sermon going in between the tackles on his first run. The second, or it's not in sequential order, but you had a George Kittle handoff. You handed the ball off to your tight end. You had a Deebo Samuel handoff, and you had Kyle Juszczyk run straight up the middle. Those are your first 4 rushes of the game. And nothing like those aren't conventional. The way that they tried to get their run game going, it wasn't conventional. They were trying to hit the edges. It wasn't working. And they were trying it with other ways than normally how they would typically attack it with their outside zone scheme. It just felt different. So again, say all you want. But say all you want. Because if you're running to the outside and your wide receivers aren't blocking, apparently that's the O-line now. But okay. Sounds good. So it is what it is. I mean, I was sitting in the stands, man. I was watching it. I was waiting for it. I'm like, why isn't Kyle getting the running game going? I said it for an entire half. I said, why isn't Kyle getting the running game going? Like, what are we doing? Why are we trying to hit the edges right now? Like, why do we keep hitting the edges over? And again, I don't have the context. Maybe the context was stretch them wide first and then start attacking the middle of the defense. That absolutely could have been the game plan and the thought process. Again, I don't know. I'm not in those meetings. But when you run the first 4 rushes are with 4 different people and they're all completely like none of those things are the staple of their running offense. I mean, come on. Like, I didn't see it. I would have loved to see Sermon get more opportunity to run the football and build up a rhythm, build up a momentum, and start like, let's attack this defense. Like, we have a decent offensive line. So why not? Again, I didn't personally, what do I know? I didn't personally like how we were trying to get the run game activated early. It kind of goes away, at least in my opinion, of a typical Kyle Shanahan situation. Now I understand we're down a ton of running backs and all that stuff. The coach says, Brad, the edges are all that's open. They are loading the box. It's math. Yes, we know math. You can't block can't block 8 with 6. We understand that. Um, Defenses are not respecting us. Yes, we understand that the coaches are not the coaches. We understand that teams are playing us heavy in the box. We understand why they're doing that. We understand that they're daring us to throw deep and they're daring us to throw outside the numbers. We understand this. But at the same time, like, not the biggest fan of how we went about going to attack this concept. I felt like we could attack this concept still a little bit differently. Again, outside zone, running the zone. I still think you could run based on having a tight end into block, having juice to block. You can still make that work, even with some of those loaded fronts that we were seeing. But we didn't try it. We didn't try it, and we weren't being successful on the edge either. We weren't getting to the edge. So I don't know how well that was working. So it is what it is. But the point of everything that we're kind of talking about was getting in the flow and all that good stuff. So it is what it is, man. The 49ers came out flat. They weren't operating or executing the offense to what they wanted to do, and probably to their standard. But guess what? They kept fighting. They got back. They came back and made it close. Almost won that game. So again, not everything can be trash and terrible when you almost win the damn game after not performing to the best of your ability. So it is what it is. I know it's Monday after now. Everyone wants to blame someone. It's okay. Blame me. You can blame me for the loss. I'll take that. How about that? They lost because of me. So it is what it is. Yeah, I know. I know that the safeties were 12 to 15 off the line of scrimmage. I know. But that still doesn't change the fact that they can still get to the edge either. It's absolutely my Wi-Fi's fault. Yep. Actually, that's where we're going. We're going Wi-Fi, but it is also my fault. It's also my fault that we didn't run the football up the middle. It's my fault. I apologize, guys. Guys, I'll do better next time. I take accountability for this loss. I think, when I look back at the tape, it comes back to situations and me not calling the right plays in the right situations, and I take responsibility for that. That's on me. So yeah. And this is what lives look like on the Monday after L's. Always fun. Always fun. You're welcome. I'm glad I could be here to take accountability for all these issues that we're seeing. Oh my goodness. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I did not crown him too early. No, I'm not an Oregon fan. That's actually a Diamador Lenore jersey. Shout out Diamador. Who is the real Blaine? That's a real loaded question. Again, it's the Monday after a L. We all want to point the finger at someone. We want to assign blame. Like I said, you can blame me. Blame me for the loss. It was my fault. I posted too much. I posted too much pregame hype. I think I got a little overconfident. Blame me. But if we're being perfectly honest, again, the reason why I keep referencing game flow comes down to rhythm, comes down to play calling. And so, again, defense is more reactive. Defense is trying to react to what an offense is doing to them, whereas the offense is attacking. I didn't feel like the offense attacked Green Bay in a way that allowed them to get into rhythm, didn't allow them to make the proper adjustments. And unfortunately, you're going up against a Hall of Famer on the other side. So you take all those things and you put them together. You can look at coaching, you can look at execution, and you can look at your opponent. So you guys can decide who you want to blame. Honestly, like, you can decide who deserves the most fault. You can decide to choose and focus on that last drive. You can choose to focus on the first half. It is what it is. At the end of the day, in my opinion, it all comes down to three faces of football: playing offense, playing defense, and playing special teams, and all three of those things working together. And I will tell you straight up, the offense and the defense were not in phase working together in the first half. Now, whether that is coaching, execution, available players, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Of how you want to handle that and who you really want to point your finger at. But at the end of the day, I look at it from a situation where, again, Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius. This is fourth year with a veteran quarterback, with a veteran offensive line, with really good skill positions. I would like to see them be in more rhythm up front early. And however you want to associate that, go for it. I just really would have liked to seen the ability to make adjustments sooner. Should we be concerned over the cornerback injuries and Kyle not rushing up the middle more against the Packers, which was gaining some yards? Yeah, in regards to the rushing thing, I was concerned all game. I didn't understand. I didn't understand why we weren't trying to attack the middle of that defense a little bit harder, a little bit more methodically. It felt like we were really picking and choosing our shots when we were attacking the middle of that offense, and a lot of the time, the guy who was attacking the middle was Juszczyk. I think Juszczyk probably got 4 or 5 carries straight up the gut, and it just felt like there wasn't a real rhythm to that. Of course, I would have loved to see that. To coach's point, they were cheating up. They were absolutely cheating up on defense in regards to where the safeties were playing, the depth of the safeties, doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. I would have loved, like I said, I would have loved to see that more, at least a more concerted effort to get it going. I don't feel like I saw the concerted effort to get the run in between the tackles going with Trey Sermon in rhythm. I just don't feel like I saw that, especially in the first half. And it's hard when you do a lot of play action too. Do a lot of play action, and when your run game isn't working, it's really hard to do some play action. In regards to the cornerback injuries, you're always going to be concerned about injuries. Injuries aren't good for anyone. They just aren't. So with Josh Norman getting banged up, apparently like swollen lungs and like internal bleeding, sounds really crazy, but apparently he might have an opportunity to come back and play this week against Seattle. So that's good. Emmanuel Mosley getting his first game action again. He's knocking some of the rust off as well, from kind of like having half a training camp because he was dealing with injury, and then of course missed the first 2 games as a result too. So Emmanuel Mosley, give him some time. Jason Verrett, that of course is going to hurt a lot. that he won't be able to come back at all this year. And then, of course, K'Wan Williams. We got to figure out what's going on with K'Wan. Yeah, dude. Always going to be concerned about injuries. I mean, we're already like, we literally signed Josh Norman 2 weeks ago, and we're like, oh, we got to sign someone else. I know we got Dre Kirkpatrick in waiting, but it's not a good situation. It's really not a good situation. When again, cornerbacks and certain players and positions are having a hard time staying healthy. So, yeah. Obviously, we can move past the Packers. That's less concerning. Again, maybe a lot of the personnel fronts that they showed us dictated that. But I would say we should be more concerned, of course, about being healthy in the secondary, as anyone would. William Handy, appreciate the super chat, says, love the work. Go sign Sherman. Our secondary is softer than single high toilet paper. God. Yeah, I'm not even done. In the rain, we need depth. Wow. That is quite the visual there, William. That is quite the visual, William. So I will say this about the whole Richard Sherman thing. So I know Richard and Lynch have spoken. I know they have talked. I know they've communicated. And as of that last communication, the 49ers were happy with where they were at with the current secondary depth. Well, maybe that has changed since then. I don't know. I think Richard Sherman is preparing to sign elsewhere. I know Sherman wants to come back and is very open to coming back. But I'm getting the sense that it's not a reciprocated effort. I don't know if that changes with this past week, but I think that Sherman could be primed to sign somewhere else. So we'll see. I see someone talking about Dantzler. Dantzler's absolutely having all this, back and forth, not being active week 1. Played decent in week 2, but barely played in week 3. So with Dantzler, I don't know what's going on with him. So we'll see. But I do appreciate the super chat, Big Bill. Big Bill, we see you. You have a great night, James. Thank you as always for the positive support and love you're always showing. Thank you, James. You have a great night. Absolutely great night. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more. I'm gonna do more. Then we're bouncing out. I appreciate it, Big Bill. I hope you don't mind me calling you Bill, even though your name is clearly William. I appreciate it, my guy. All right. Oh, you're a military man. All right, you have a great night, man. Oh man. I mean, it's hard to say that the front office doesn't value the secondary. They drafted 3 secondary players. They drafted Talanoa Hufanga. They drafted Ambry Thomas in the 3rd round. That's high draft capital on a cornerback, and they drafted Diamador Lenore. Well, I think it's been pretty decent. Absolutely. So, I don't know. It's just, again, one injury at the top changes so much. Losing Barrett changes a lot. It really does. So we're going to be in catch-up mode all year because of that injury. I mean, I would say at this point, in regards to like trade talk or signing additional free cornerbacks, I would like to see them trade for someone, maybe. Um, I still think that this defense is a lot better than a lot of people make it out to be. I think what occurred last night, which, is what it is. Again, to me, that was a three phases of football problem, not just an offense or a defensive problem. That was just the whole game revolving together. Um, but yeah, I would like I would like to see them go after a cornerback, but again, I don't know how much money they have. I don't know what capital they. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, so it is what it is. It is what it is. How about we do this? Let's end it there. Again, lives on Mondays after a loss, especially tough losses, aren't fun. Because again, a lot of what we do, not me necessarily, but we're trying to assign blame as a fan base. It is what it is. I understand it. Um, I think there's a lot of things that we could do a lot better from the top down. I think everything starts with Kyle Shanahan. I think everything ends with Kyle Shanahan, especially in this year more than any other year. I think in this year, out of any other year, it starts and stops with Kyle. So for me, as if I have to, put my high horse, get on my high horse and be like, I'm holding someone accountable, you know, I'm looking at Kyle. That's just how it goes. Um, with him being the play caller, with him being the head coach, with him being like the half GM, um, I'm looking at Kyle, man. That's who I look at. I look at those types of situations and how we've operated and how it affects everything else. So all that good stuff. I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you. So nice to have some positivity here on this grumpy Monday. It's so nice to have some positivity on this grumpy Monday. uh, oh, I appreciate you, Wavy Justin. I really do. I really, really do. Yeah, so I get it. I get it. It's hard. It's a hard loss. It's a hard loss. How we lost didn't make it any particularly better. But I will say this: we'll end it on a positive. On a grumpy Monday, we'll end it on a positive. All right. So that's how we'll end Grumpy Mondays from here on out. Grumpy Mondays, they end with positives, okay? And then we'll turn the page and we're on to Seattle. All right. But Grumpy Mondays, we're going to end it with this. The fact that team was down 17-0, basically at halftime, no rhythm, no functioning anything, honestly, turning the ball over, forcing our defense to be overextended much more than they should have been. To be able to play through that, to be able to bounce back from that. One, not only right before half, but to be able to come back after halftime, make some adjustments, get the momentum going, get the rhythm going, start moving the ball, start getting chunk plays. Again, it's all positives and signs that we are headed in the right direction. It would be different if like we took a step backwards coming out of half and we didn't show up. We didn't make adjustments. We didn't score any points. And we're talking this conversation from me is much different. But because they came out, they made the adjustments. They continued to fight. They continued to attack. They scored the points. And guess what? We went up and we're primed and ready to go to win the game with 37 seconds left in the clock. Now, can we nitpick every single thing that led up to those last 32 seconds? 37 seconds? 100%. Everything. We can literally nitpick everything. Jimmy could have ran out the play clock, 12 more seconds off the clock on that use check touchdown. Would that have been a difference in the game? Probably. That removes one play at the very minimum, likely two, from Aaron Rodgers. We can look at so many different things. You know what I'm saying? So as we take a step back, we're 2-1, considering that we've been decimated at running back, we've been decimated at cornerback. We're still getting into rhythm as a team. We're still trying to take steps forward and find that rhythm and do all that kind of stuff. I still think that we are headed in the right direction. Now, this could turn on us. I think when you have kind of this volatile situation at quarterback, I think that leaves it up to be a little bit predictable. I think we can't sit here and say we know Jimmy's going to be the starting quarterback in week 13. We can't say that at this point. And that's just being, I think, realistic. I think that's just being realistic. We just don't know. And again, like Coach talked about, you're seeing defenses dare us to do different things, but we still keep trying to do the same thing. That's dangerous. That's dangerous to our future of how we operate. But there are adjustments that can be made off of that. So as long as we're making the adjustments, as long as we're taking steps forward, we're being able to identify and pinpoint where the issues are occurring and why they're occurring, and then fix them and make the correct steps to do all those things from a functional logistics standpoint, from a play calling standpoint. All that stuff is correctable. So those are the positives. The things that aren't positive, Raheem Mostert ain't walking through that door anytime soon. Jason Verrett, he's not walking through that door anytime soon. That's the biggest pain, I think, out of all of this. But everything that we saw yesterday is correctable. You can make adjustments based on how the defense played the 49ers in that first half, second half. You can make adjustments off that. You can exploit what they're doing if you attack it right. So all those things can work to our benefit. So I'm not hitting the panic button. However, we don't know what the situation really is at quarterback for the long term. But all we can ask for right now is the ability to try just to be as consistent as possible. And I think that's the rallying cry right now. Be consistent. Find rhythm. Be consistent. Find rhythm. Be consistent. And with that being said, everything could fall into place. All that stuff should fall into place. So we might be back for a Trenches Tuesday to take a look at some of the trench play and really dive into the film tomorrow on YouTube to break apart. Again, it's called Trenches Tuesday or Trench Tuesday for a reason. We break down trench play on Tuesdays on YouTube. So that's what we got tomorrow. And then probably around Wednesday, Thursday, we'll start focusing on the Seahawks. And so that's what we got going right now. So we'll see. It's Seahawks week, though. It's Seahawks week. Let's go. This is a big week. And could have a lot of implications on the rest of our season. So again, adjustments, execution, rhythm. That's what we need. Can't do anything about injuries. Next man up. So it is what it is. I'll be back tomorrow. Per usual, we'll be breaking it all down. We'll get a little bit more deeper into the actual tape itself. From Green Bay versus the 49ers. We'll look and pinpoint, identify what we liked, what we didn't like, what we think could be better, something like that. Am I wearing a raincoat? No, I'm not wearing a raincoat. It's actually a very thin material. So it is what it is. L's hurt, but guess what? We'll bounce back. We got a good group of guys. Got a good group of guys. So remember, the losses hurt. They do. But we're going to make it through this. A lot of the stuff that we saw is correctable. All right. So let's bounce back and we'll attack this the rest of the week. Let's go. I appreciate everyone. We out. Later. And